Are you still confused about spaces, folders, and lists? When exactly should we use them? And how do I set them up for my own ClickUp workspace? Hi, I'm Shirley, a ClickUp consultant, and I've been there, done that, and had the same questions as you. So don't worry, I'll be guiding you through on a simple ClickUp setup and also walk you through on the ClickUp hierarchy structure. So let's dive into the ClickUp hierarchy. We have 6 hierarchy levels. There is, of course, a workspace where you first create an account, and then you have your spaces, you have folders below the spaces, you have your list, you have your tasks inside of each list, you have subtasks, and you also have nested subtasks. So we'll discuss them one by one. So let's start with the tasks first. All right. So tasks are the basic unit of data in ClickUp. And they're like to-do lists, right? So you may start off just putting random tasks together. And then when you see that tasks are kind of similar and should be grouped together, then that's when you should put them in a list. And so I have it on a list called pet care. And so before we go into the other levels, let's first go deeper into the task level. Inside a task, we can create subtasks and checklists. And so with subtasks, they are actually outlining the step-by-step process of how you can do that task. And so with a checklist, it's also similar in a way that you're also outlining what are the things to do when you're doing a task, but you don't have to do it in any particular order. Another difference here is that you can put due dates on these subtasks, but with checklists, you can't put any due date. Another difference between subtasks and checklists is that subtasks are viewable when you go to the list view. So just make sure that your subtasks are always expanded here and that it's showing when you click on this drop down here. Unlike checklists, you cannot see them in a checklist view, but you can identify checklists if you see this check mark here right beside the task, and you can see you have 2 checklists inside that task. And so now when you start to add more tasks, you realize that certain tasks should be part of a process, and that's the pet care. So each list should actually have a common goal, or they should contain similar types of tasks. So now to keep your list organized, then that's when you should put them in a folder. So you can see here that I have a list for pet food, vet contacts, and all of that is under the folder for my pet, Angus. And so you can see here that there are other folders for my other pets, Mia and Kim. And of course, it just makes sense that all of these folders should be part of a space called pets. Now, also one thing you can take note of is that you can certainly make a list, even if it's not part of any folder. So it's just going to be a standalone, and that's when it's not really related to any of the other folders. So again, spaces are the whole container that organizes your folders. So for you, you can organize spaces by your departments, teams, clients, or anything that makes sense. The real trick here is to make sure that everything in the space level belongs to that category and can be shared with the members of your workspace. And also just a trick here is your spaces are public until you make it private. And so you can check on that if you go to your sharing and permission. So if there is no padlock on this, it's a public workspace. And so everyone who is a member of your workspace can see that whole space. If you don't want to do that, you'd better make that private. And so you can see now that I've put my space private and there is a padlock on it. And so now all of your spaces are housed in your workspace. So your workspace could usually be your company name, or if you have multiple businesses, you can have multiple workspaces. Just keep in mind that settings are different for each workspace, so you'd have to set up everything in all of your workspaces, from notifications to your settings to your colors and all of that. And if you do have a paid subscription, it only applies to your chosen workspace. And so let's try to go ahead and set up a sample workspace. Let's say that I have a small business and I'm serving clients as a freelancer. And so let's say I would organize it in a way that I will have one space for all of my clients, and all of my clients would have one folder: client A, client B, and client C. And so each client folder will have a list that would outline what kind of service I'm doing for that client. And I may have social media list for client A, a copywriting list for client B, or an email marketing list for client C, because each list is different according to what I'm doing for that client. Now, it may also depend if you have a client that is a big whale, meaning that client takes up a big chunk of your income, or you have a lot of projects for a certain client. That's a time that you may want to put up their own space. And so I have here client A, and they have their own space. So under that, that's where I will put folders for that client. I may have an onboarding folder, a project A folder, a project B folder, and offboarding folder. So it really depends, because on this client, we have a lot of things going on. And so inside this project folder A, for example, then I would maybe break it down into tasks that are urgent, tasks that are routine, or backlog tasks. And so I would just set it up according to who are the team working for a specific project. And that's the only thing I would need to share with them. And so you could also organize it this way. So if I have a business, then I would set up each department as a space. So I may have a client space, I would have a business hub space, and a lead generation space. So each space would have all of the similar tasks together. So under Business Hub, you'll have everything about your business operations, right? So you've got their management, you've got strategy, you've got your HR growth, everything about your Business Hub in one space. And so if I go to lead generation, then that would be everything about prospecting or getting clients or onboarding clients and offboarding them. And so it's really up to you how you're going to structure your ClickUp in a way that makes sense for your business. If you're a small business, just keep it simple, because only a few people are going to use it. If it gets more complex, then that's the time that you're going to have more folders or more lists. So just make sure that you're keeping things simple and that you're able to revise them as your business grows. And so if you'd like to watch more videos, just watch our other videos about ClickUp. And thank you so much.